come back and do the intro later.
Great.
But finish your thought.
Well, I was just saying that what I love about what you wrote about this idea of drunk dramaturgy is this de-elitization of theater, and that the way that we like argue about sports and stats and, you know, the stuff that we can get really passionate about, like Harry Potter novels, or that's just me. I mean, not just me, obviously. She wouldn't have sold millions of books if it were just me. But we can make theater something that everybody gets to have an opinion about. And I love this format because it seems to like de-fancy it, which I like a lot.
Yeah.
So to de-fancying.
Lauren Gunderson! Woo, woo. Thank you for joining us, Lauren Gunderson, on Drunk Dramaturgy. For those of you who do not know Lauren Gunderson, Lauren is twice the most produced living playwright in the American Regional Theater. Milwaukee audiences will be familiar with Lauren's work from productions of The Book of Will at APT, Christmas at Pemberley at Milwaukee Rep, and I and You, The Revolutionists, Silent Sky, and The Taming, all at Next Act Theater. Welcome, Lauren. Thank you for joining us. And with us, of course, is the ever delightful, resourceful Kimberly Colburn, who, even though she now lives in Canada, remains one of the 3 to 5 most important people in American new play development.
Oh my God, you need to stop saying that.
After having spent time as literary manager at Actors Theater of Louisville and literary director at South Coast Rep.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been talking about the art of dramaturgy as the art of creating a specific context around a specific element of a theater production or something that has to do with theater.
Wait. What are you drinking?
This is my favorite cocktail beverage. It is a Bullet Rye Manhattan with a little orange. I don't have an orange twist because we are in shelter in place and I can't get oranges. So I have orange bitters and a fabulous cherry, Luxardo cherries, please, and only.
Of course.
Lovely. Kimberly Colburn, what are you drinking?
I'm drinking a lovely Cabernet Sauvignon in a varietally specific Riedel glass.
Of course you are, because you're fancy like that. And I am just popping the top on a Lakefront Brewery Maibach German-style lager, handcrafted. Oh, 7% alcohol by volume.
Yes.
Delightful. All right, now that we have cheers all. So now that we've done that, Lauren Gunderson, what is the dramaturgical context you would like to share with us?
Thank you so much for having this hilarious and specific venue to chat about the thing I love most, which is theater. Okay, so I had this idea flash into my mind about how good sport is great theater.
Mm-hmm.
Theater, not good sport, but great sport is great theater. Here's why. Because we know the sides. Sport is real easy at being like, who's the protagonist, who's the antagonist? Like, we know depending on whose team you're on, but there's like 2 teams, so the choice is really obvious. I always get this question about like, but like, why does theater have to have one protagonist? So I was like, y'all, don't press me. Like, isn't this really a play about time? No, it's not a play about fucking time. It's a play about one character after a thing and doing a series of actions to get it. Like, it's not about a metaphysical context. So anyway, sport is really simple. It's clear. The sides are clear. The goal is clear, obviously, to win the thing, to put the balls in the place, to like get the thing over the thing. Like, it's just so clear.
Before we dive into this further, I need to know, what is the sport that you are a fan of that makes you posit this hypothesis?
Question. I grew up in Atlanta, Georgia, and the Braves baseball, baby.
Stolen team from the city of Milwaukee.
Sorry, man.
Ugh.
I know.
Stop fighting.
Look, I will say, so I was a tomboy when I was a kid. I was not a very girly girl. I loved baseball so much. I don't know why even. I mean, I loved baseball before the Braves got good, but I happened to be like in that elementary to middle school range where you're just very impressionable. And that is when, as happenstance would have it, the Braves went from worst to first. We were the worst team in the country. And we suddenly, Bobby Cox, man, our general manager, got something, right? And just got the team, and we were like shot to the top of everything. And it was the most freaking exciting thing ever. Like the whole city was swept over by it. And to feel that was, as a little like theater kid, going, oh, something about this is right. Like this is the thing that I wish theater, or good theater, does this. Good theater is like everybody has an opinion about it. Everyone's like, oh, can't wait to see what happens next. You know what I mean? And so there's something global. It's big. It's also just easy. I mean, let's be honest. Sports, not the act of it. The act of it has athleticism that is incomparable. But getting it is easy. It's an easy buy-in. Like the bar is low. You're like, cool. I want to see who wins a thing. It's all fucking made up. Like it's as made up as theater is. It's as, like the Braves baseball is as made up as King Lear is. Like it's just shit that we decided matters at the moment because we all agreed sitting down in a stadium or a theater that we're like, cool, I'm just going to buy into what you say is important and I should care about it. So it's like, you know, the game, why are we using a bat and not like a pillow? I don't know. We just said that was the rules. Why is it 3 strikes and not 4? I don't know. We just agreed. Like, this is the same thing that playwrights think about in terms of like, I'm just going to set the rules and we're going to see how far we can go with this.
Here's the thing about sports. It has clearly defined rules, and theater, to a large extent, is all about trying to see where the boundaries of the rules are and what are the ways in which those rules are actually flexible. And even when you say rules, you don't necessarily know them. And I think that orientation around the agreed upon parameters is what makes them so vastly different that I can't quite wrap my head around this.
Here's what I think, and I will start by saying I'm like the least likely person to be like the sport person in the conversation. but what I do love about it is, even though, yes, the specific rules of the play are very distinct to the playwright's voice, the playwright's universe, like what the rules of the world of that play, but we always, it's a conversation about satisfaction and audience satisfaction, and a sense that even though the rules of a Nilo Cruz play, Paula Vogel play will be different than the rules of my play, there's going to be a sense of satisfaction at the end. Did the character get what they want? At what cost? Like there's always a generality to it, even though as specific as we can be about how much poetry, how much darkness, how much comedy, how much music, whatever, all of those things, you still want to walk away being able to say, I know what that play was about. This character wanted this and they got it, or they didn't, or they tried, but they failed at the last minute, or like something that kind of, that encapsulates the sense. And that's what I love about sports when it's good. And I think the other definition we need to bring up is, what is a good game? Because like, oh, that was a good game. That was a great game. What does that mean? It means that it was even teams, that it was like it was nail biting. It was competitive. If it's like, if you're up by 1 billion points, it's not a good game. You're like, I mean, even if it's your team, you're like, oh, that's good. They won. Great. But like, it didn't feel like earned, right? So we want this earned. We want to earn that ending moment. And I am, as you know, all about the climax, all about like, where are we going? What's the end? What's the point? Because the end of the play to me is the point of the whole play. It's what the play is about. It's what everything, why we're writing it, is what happens at the end. It's not actually at the beginning, not even the midpoint. It's what is the climactic moment at the end? And of course, that is every sport game. The end is, did you get more points? I mean, again, it's super simple and not complex and not necessarily emotional in the way that we think of emotional risk in theater, but it's just so freaking clear that I love that analogy because it also encourages theater to be big and like, go for it. Like really be freaking big and want what you want. And there's none of this like cool over it, like I'm gonna exit and have my moment off stage. It was like, fuck that shit. If you're sport, you don't have that shit off stage. It is on stage.
There is no off stage.
There's no off stage.
It's simple and it's direct and it's elemental, right? Win, lose. I mean, as you were saying before, there are binaries, right? There's no nuance there. So it's very clear. It makes you take sides, and it makes you, as you're taking those sides, invest so fully emotionally in it. I mean, for me, as a huge sports fan, the only difference really between sports and theater is that when you're in a stadium with a bunch of diehard sports fans, everyone has internalized the given circumstances of the sporting event to a degree that it is almost at like a DNA level.
Yeah.
Right. And when you're in a theater, you've got the first 5 minutes as a writer or as a director to make sure that you are internalizing the given circumstances of that world that deeply in the audience.
That's
to the
right.
same extent that like a 30-year football fan understands the most nuanced of those rules.
Yes, if you're doing Lear, you're like, I need to know we got 3 daughters. He's about to chop up his country. He's not cool with this guy. He likes that guy. He thinks this is no contest. And then Cordelia's like, I don't know, right? Like, that just disrupts everything, right? So there's something about, like, I'm a baseball fan, so I love the pomp and circumstance of baseball. Now, baseball is like a slow, chill game, so it's not actually a very good. Well, I need basketball to be like, basketball is better theater because it's just fast. Go, go, go. Take the ball. Now we're taking the ball. Now we're getting the point. Now hockey. Great. Sure.
Also fast.
Also fast. Y'all know I am all about fast, funny. Those are the only notes I literally ever give to any production is like, great job, faster, funnier. Great job, faster, funnier. Keep going. So I'm also in the Bay Area, so I have been given the gift that is Steph Curry and the Warriors. So we get a lot of fun basketball in this town. If it's not the Warriors, it's the Giants in baseball. So we've had like a good couple years to be a sports fan here. But anyway, I just love this sense that, again, as exactly as you're saying, it's clear. You know the rules in the history. You can dive right in, and it goes and goes and goes. If we keep, the thing that pisses me off about theater is when it gets boring. And when it gets boring is things are not happening that cause the next thing. Mm-hmm. And sport is like, even in baseball, like baseball you think it's slow and it's boring. It's not. Every single throw, every single move by those players out there is affecting the outcome. You just like have to be really into it. So I love this sense that like theater can challenge theater artists. Like, what are we able to accomplish? The end of Hamlet should feel like a Serena Williams playoff game. It should feel like, go, 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 yes! You know what I mean? It should, I mean, they're actually playing a sport at the end of Hamlet, but the idea of like getting the win and that causing the next action, it's
Here's the thing. I hear all of the things you're saying, and I appreciate them. I also think that this is potentially a case of putting theater onto something, because theater is so broad that you can, in fact, make analogies to most other things and find connections and find resonances and find the ways in which they connect and compare them, whatever. And so what is it that you are positing that is making it different than just placing theater as an artifice on top of a pre-existing condition?
Technicality. Theater is technical, because when we get into like all the different voices and all the stuff, it can feel like theater is this loosey-goosey catch-all for like standing up on a stage in front of people and doing a thing. Where my point is, no. Theatrical live performance storytelling is so deeply ingrained in the evolution of humanity. I can riff on some like primal theater connections and like why we tell stories at all, but it's also why we do sport at all. Because we are trying to approximate a thing. We are trying to approximate, for sport, it's war. We're trying to approximate war. We really like war. We think it solves things. It doesn't, but we think it solves things. It's like momentarily solving a thing. Like, they won the championship next year. They didn't. All right, well, congratulations. but theater, I think what I love about the connection from theater to sport is because it is technical. It requires athleticism. It requires specific technique. It requires you to be good at a thing. And you can make the jump that a sports person is closer to the actor because they are requiring the technicality of their body. all the ways in which we inform an audience, not just with the information of the words that we're saying, but it is how we look at a person, how we glance, how we reach out to touch them but don't. Like all of that is full of such information and richness and all the things, and it takes craft, right? It takes control.
But it's technicality for sure.
Technicality, but similar to writing and directing, obviously. But there's this sense that like every single thing matters. But I think the heart of why I love this comparison of sport and theater, I'm like the last person to have this conversation, but it's clarity. I think when I talk to younger writers, they want to write a play about all the things. They want to, and I'm sure all the plays that you've read, Kimberly, in your tenure, and Brent is your tenure, you have seen plays about all the things. It's a play about justice and family and this guy and that guy and this lady and the lady's lady. And you're like, please, Lord, help me.
One thing. Just the one thing.
Just like pick one thing.
One thing.
You can maybe, if you're talented, have a B plot.
Like a B plot. It's like a half a thing. Like a thing and a half a thing. Sport is the same. Like we have the thing. We're after the thing. And we use all the tools to get that thing. So there's something about making theater people focus on that clarity of the thing that sport aligns with. And also the pomp, the circumstance, the rivalry, the bigness, the longevity of a thing. It just feels like we are asking ourselves, by even considering how we are related to the sport. Also, like, sports are pretty popular. So, like, maybe theater should be like, I could maybe learn some sport.
No question.
Yeah, but look, okay, so for me, the whole breaking down what you're talking about laying a theatrical construct on top of the sport, right? Looking at it from like a Stanislavskian perspective, right? Where you've got the whole thing, and then you've got these objectives inside the whole thing, and then you've got these little beats inside those larger objectives. That's a football game. You have the whole large game, play to win or lose. You have 4 chances to go 10 yards. That's an immediate objective. Then inside that are all these little micro beats, right? All these little tactics and all these little challenges that you have to accomplish. I mean,
the only problem with that analogy is the fact that football fucking stops all the time. And if we did that in theater, people would
Yes, die. Of course it doesn't work.
And that's I don't like it.
Oh,
I will say too.
Like, why are you even playing? You can't play football.
But to your point, Brent, I think the small dramas within the big drama are more like this. It's his last season with the team, and he broke his leg last game, and so is he gonna, like, all of that shit? Like,
because it's learning more about the characters.
Yeah.
Like, yes,
it's good character development.
Yeah.
It's exactly character.
That's like 5th act stuff we're getting to now, right? Where all the stuff is already unfolded, and now you're waiting for the payoff. His mom just died,
and his wife is, I don't know, like, you can just pack it in, and that's the shit we cry about. That's like when these, like, grown men are like, you know, that's what I'm loving. Now,
but that's what you're talking about before, right? We suspend our disbelief both ways, right? We believe that both of these things are real and actually matter because we're invested in them because we decide to. Why is it that we invest in the sport to that realer degree than we do in theater?
You know why?
They're both real. They're both happening.
It might be kind of shitty to say, but this is what this whole thing is about, right? We don't actually care about the poetry or the philosophy. We care about the urgency.
Mm-hmm. And what's in here as opposed to what's in here.
Exactly. It's the instinct, it's the need, it's the like now of it. This is why love stories are so satisfying and so frankly easier to write than other things, because it's fucking obvious. You love her. Oh, great. You had me at hello. Fine. I will buy anything that you do because you've told me that this is the one. Great. Sure. But, you know, all these, there's a lot of other subtleties. And again, this is where theater is fucking hard because we want it to do all the things. We want it to do the base low-hanging fruit things of being satisfying, fun, funny, romantic, sexy.
Sell me tickets.
High-level things. Yeah, exactly. There you go. But also the high-level things of like, let's talk about big ideas. Let's be metaphysical. Let's talk about big shit. But theater's like, I don't care about big shit. I mean, sports is like, I don't care about big shit. I'm like, it is the now shit. It is the like, do you get the point shit? It is the moment in the moment. And so I did this class today on my Facebook thing about, that's why I have this book nearby.
Oh, best book ever written about the theater.
Greatest.
Ever. Oh.
The greatest.
I love that you brought a prop
Oh,
Well, this is where I did my class earlier, and I was like, oh,
so good.
right here. But part of what he breaks down so great is that thing. It is about, yes!
Oh, I can't get up and get mine, but it's right there. It's right there. See? It's right. I can see it. Look, there it
You
is.
want to borrow mine? Oh, it didn't
Ball fan
work.
club, David Ball fan club. Who knows him? Can we like give him a like virtual hug? Anyway, so the point is that he makes so clear is about dominoes, right? You knock the next domino. The one domino doesn't knock the 10th domino, it knocks the next domino. And that's sport. You get this point, which allows you to get this point, which makes this foul, which makes this point possible, which makes it so it kind of reminds you like the thing causes the next thing. And yes, all of those things will cause the thing that is an hour from now. But if you think about, if you try to leap over all the small things, you won't get there, or it'll be too theoretical. Or, I mean, it's, again, this is getting metaphorical, but the point is a thing causes another thing. Sport is very easy like that. You can't jump to the 9th inning. We got to get through all the fucking innings, like all the other shit to get to the last greatest point. Who is going to win? Oh my God. Right? We can't jump to there because it doesn't mean anything. But all of those dominoes and all of those points and all of the scoring that has led to that last moment makes it matter. So there's a certain thing where if we assume theater is all of the depth without the mechanics, then we lose the ability to get to the depth because we need the mechanics to tell us what matters, to, and frankly, not to tell us, to feel, for us to feel instinctively we know it matters. And not be told at the 5th act of like, well, here's why all of what you're about to hear matters, because as you know, we are related, and I am the king, and you want to be the king, and blah, blah, blah. Right? Like we don't, none of that shit. Right? We're gonna know already that this moment, this climactic moment of decision, character-defining action, which is my new way of saying, I'm not new, but anyway, it's the way that I have most clearly told myself what that action is. You are defining who you are. Now in a play, it's more deep than that, than in a sporting event, because it's not as personal. It's more about all the things that sport is about, strength and blah, blah. So that's where the metaphor fails. But in theater, we're trying to get to that playoff last 9th inning moment where Hamlet gets to say, are you a king killer or not? Are you going to do this thing that you have been trying to punish your uncle for doing the entire fucking play, or are you not? And he, at that moment, is like, yeah, I'm a king killer. Gonna do it right now. In climax, blah, all the shit happens. Oh my God, all the things. Right? So there's something about it that I think it funnels the action into a moment. And that is good writing. Because if it's too spread out, if the climax is too spread out and like this is solved and that's solved and this person and that person and this person comes in, I forgot about that person. Like, oh my God, what was this play about? No. Whereas a sport goes, it's about this. I told you it's about winning the fucking trophy. Told you at the beginning. That's what we're all here for. We all know what we're here for.
Very Brechtian. I think on that note, we should